I go out of my way to find games that subvert the norms of a genre or try something unique and interesting and different, and I came across FloCity, which is a calm city builder puzzle hybrid game. But I feel like it's neither of those, and it's really odd. Allow me to explain. In FloCity, you have a donut of resources that's plotted into each of the 6 levels inside this game, but the donut of resources is slowly sinking, as marked by a percentage meter on the top of the donut. The idea of this game is to try and build a city from the resources that are on the donut, and you do this by getting your flock of ships to pick up the resources and then drop them off at the various different docks that are dotted around the level, easy for me to say. However, they're almost always landlocked at the beginning of each level, and this brings you to the one of 2 things that you do in FloCity. The first thing that you'll be doing is using a terrain tool, very similar to Ubisoft's From Dust, where you could shape the terrain to enable your tribe to survive various natural disasters. Here in FloCity, you're using it to carve out canals, and you'll be doing it to try and make the most efficient flow of seaworthy traffic as possible, because the longer it takes for them to get from the donut to the ports and back again, obviously the less resources are being hoarded in, which enables you to then build the city. The key with all of this is that from level 2 onwards, there's lots of collapsible paraphernalia around each of the cities. It's different wherever you go. And so if you are a bit careless with where you carve, you'll have like rocks collapse in onto the water and cut off the shortcut that you was busy building. There's one with like electronic transistors or canisters that kind of fall over everywhere. There's another one where there's loads of like triangular mines and you have to try and carve out almost like a Takeshi's Castle honeycomb maze style route all the way through all of the different city walls. There's another one where you're in like a mini golf course and you have to keep opening and closing various different routes so that you can get your ships through on the green land. And so each level does something slightly different, but you have to be very precise and exacting in how you carve out your canals so that your ships can go back and forth. Unfortunately, your ships are AI driven, and so quite often they get stuck on the ports themselves, they get stuck on bits of terrain, and so you have to keep nudging them with the terrain tool to hope that they spring back into life again, because otherwise they just get stuck there forever and then you're not running at maximum efficiency. As you progress through the levels though, resources get dropped off at the ports, and you can see the resources with the number above the port's head. And this brings you to part 2 of FloCity, and where this game starts to become totally indecipherable. You have, as a second power, the ability to mark out parts of the landscape to be able to build buildings on. And then the ports kind of laser beam these buildings onto different plots of land. However, the speed that they do it, the order that they do it, the prioritization of where they go, the radius of how far a port can laser beam, just in general, what triggers it to do anything in the first place seems to be entirely arbitrary and randomized and makes no sense whatsoever. So all you're doing is laying down various different plots of land. It's no rhyme or reason as to where you plot these things, because it seems like the developer's like, oh, we'll do some pretty patterns, but you don't understand why you can't build on certain things and in other squares you can, and then something really far away you can build on, but you don't understand why you can't build on anything close to you. It's really confusing. It makes no sense, and at no point in the game is it ever explained. The tutorial is atrocious and doesn't explain anything to this game either. And so it really lacks that kind of what am I supposed to be doing? And despite me completing this game in just over like 2.5 hours, I genuinely don't know what I did to complete the game and make some runs go faster and better than others, except for carving out canals and trying to make things slightly more efficient, because the building aspect is so hands-off and so confusing and shrouded in mystery. You just plot the buildings out and wait for something to work. It's really weird and I don't understand it. It's a real shame though, because FloCity has a definite unique vibe to it. Whenever you complete a level, it gives you this kind of ability to get in a vehicle and just gently drive or fly or just move through your city, be it on a gondola, some kind of like air balloon. There's one where you're in a Ferris wheel kind of spinning around. And it's really beautifully done. There's like a full day-night cycle. There's some hazy, ambient, synthwavey type things bubbling away in the background, very numb feeling. And it's a real vibe, and I really, really like this aesthetic and the way how it's all put together. But the actual game and the moment-to-moment gameplay is so obtusely weird and randomised that I didn't feel like I was completing the game. I felt like the game played itself, and I was just waiting for things to resolve so that I could then move on to the next level. And so, if you're after curious oddities and weird games, FloCity might be on your list. But I can't sincerely recommend this to anyone at all, to be honest, because everyone, and I mean everyone in like the comments of the reviews and all of that kind of stuff and in the forums, are just going, what on earth am I supposed to be doing with this game? It gives no feedback. It doesn't let me know what I can and can't do. It just feels too random and I don't get it. And I hear you, everyone, because I had exactly the same situation. I just managed to luck in total wins all the way through. Written review over on higherplanegames.com. Take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.